Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? Welcome to a brand new camp build. So, as we are waiting for the next update at the moment, I thought we'd continue with our current trend and break out an old prefab. This week, we're going to work with the Makeshift Mega Mansion. Okay, so yeah, I haven't used the Makeshift Mega Mansion since it came out, I don't think. It's one of those weird big ones that's cool, but once you've done it, it's kind of not sure what to do again that's not the same. So I've moved somewhere completely different to the last build, and somewhere I've not been in a while, about a year or so, up here in the Savage Divide. It should be a cool spot to build this one. You can see you've got a few local spots there. This whole area is ostensibly really busy. A lot of people like to be in the centre of the map here, which makes a lot of sense. But this particular spot doesn't get a lot of traffic. There are a few Blood Eagles just over the way, but they're just far enough away not to be a problem. So, all in all, this is definitely an underused spot. So, here we are. Seneca Rocks in the background. Cleared out all of the detritus on the floor. Let's drop our prefab in. This guy is big, and I always forget how big. It needs quite a lot of floor space. But it's good fun. It definitely got that post-apocalyptic vibe. One of my favourite of the kind of towering prefabs that we've got. There's another option or two, I think. But this one just kind of has that scrappy wasteland vibe down a little better. So, with that in place, let's wall off the front area. This is the thing with these big prefabs. Everything basically fits in them, which is cool, but it means what you do beyond just drop it and decorate it. Well, I'm going to put a front area that's nice and secure, so... bit of a slope here, as we can see, so working with a few things that work best on a slope. So initially we've got that chain link there. We're going to drop the encampment fence in, snug up to it. And where we have this little sort of pathway fence thing that looks almost like a hitching post there on the left, I'm going to sort of use that as the outer edge. I'm not actually just going to leave it that basic. We'll actually wall up next to it, but first, let's get a Free States guard post in. So this is one of the newish ones that were in the Atomic Shop a couple of weeks ago. They're not bad. They fit better in kind of a more military-themed build on the whole, but I wanted to use something that wasn't the same old wooden ones I use all the time, so they do blend in okay here, and the colour scheme kind of goes with the caravans on the Mega Mansion, so that's quite nice. A little bit finicky here, just have to make sure this is not floating, because that slope is a little bit awkward, and a little bit of final adjustment with the fence here, because it's easier to move the fence to the guard post than the other way around. And tiny little bit more adjustment, we should be in a good spot to work with there. There we go. That'll do it. And I'll close up those last couple of gaps a little later on. So, next, I want to put some fences on the front here. This one's not going to go close enough in because the little triangle corner there is just way too tight with the legs on the junk fence. So we'll grab another chain link, as that does the job very nicely. Handy having something thin to work with like this. There we go, snap that one in. And just edge that up next to it. Nice. So, big gap here. Seems like the place to put the front gate, especially as this thing is massive. Absolutely love this gutted car gate. Last month's Fallout first item. Plenty of other cool options in the game, but this one is just... I think it wins out overall. It's definitely the coolest one we've got. So, dropping that one in. And we will start to turn the corner here. This particular tyre-heavy junk fence I don't get a huge amount of use out of, because it's just a bit finicky and it's quite thick, I suppose. It's quite chunky. So, getting in can be a bit awkward sometimes. There's a sentence for you. So, we're going to turn the flamethrower onto the gate, moving swiftly on. That was cool. I like the way that exploded a lot. That was a really good animation. We're going to move this junk fence up against the corner here, and it's not quite as close as I was hoping there, but as it turns out when you repair it, the little pop of movement there actually snaps them quite nicely together. So moving on to the back of the camp here, we're going to use some encampment fences. We could double this one up as we just about tuck it under the edge of the Mega Mansion here. Well, we can once to drop it down a little bit. It wants to pop up a tiny bit there. There we go. And it's always a good option to kind of start at opposite ends of your fixed point, like the prefab here, and then have your fences meet in the middle, because that way you can just adjust things a bit more and make them line up and match up a bit. Because a little unevenness makes them look a little bit more junky, which is cool. If you go the other way around, you can find the whole line just doesn't quite match up. So start the two ends by the fixed point and work out rather than the other way around. Definitely like this junk fence, but it's one of the ones that sinks down the least. It's one of the oldest ones from Fallout 4, so we'll move that round to where we've got a nice bit of flat ground, and I use the one that does sink a little better. over there where the ground is a little bit more uneven. You get a chain link in here for a bit of variety. Flipped it around here to just get it to kind of sit a little bit more snugly in there and look a bit more well connected. I actually came back in the decoration phase and swapped that piece of chain link out for a half-size chain link and a gate, because when you fast travel in, you tend to appear at the back of the camp. Joys of, do I have it face south and be sort of looking better in the sun, or do I have it face where I'm going to arrive? Can't quite win either way. But the upshot of that is I needed a back gate, so that's why that got swapped out. A little bit of fine-tuning to make sure everything will meet up nicely. Decided to borrow one of No Respawn's little fences from his video way back when, and stick 2 barbed wire fences on there. Now we're going to use these window boards and just kind of layer it up a little bit so that it doesn't look quite so precariously balanced. There we go. Those two sit quite snugly on the front there, and it makes a really solid-looking wall there. And it's going to be in the shade and under all the trees, so it's just going to look like a massive stuff blocking it, so it's going to work quite nicely. So once again, we've got another half-size gap here. So we'll get this chain link in, and then we can just tweak this little junk fence on the back here, and that'll plug the gap quite nicely. There we go. That looks about right. Sorted. Cool. So, last couple of little bits and pieces. We want to make sure it's not too easy for anything to crawl under our fences. Not that they can actually do that, but, you know, if it looks like they can, particularly feral ghouls, it's not ideal. So, this was being a bit awkward about going in the corner by the bit of chain link we've got here. So, blueprinting made all the difference, stopped it refusing to place. Otherwise, the bit of flooring above this corner was telling it couldn't go in, which was very, very annoying. But we got there in the end with a little bit of blueprinting and a lot of unnecessary faffage. We get there. One more bit of chain link just to close up that little connecting gap there, and another bit down here with this blueprint for the metal fence again, just to close this tiny gap up. Look at that, perfect fit. Job's good. So, with this place walled off and all the prefab in, I think it's probably time to head off and decorate this thing. So, I will see you in the tour in just a moment. Okay, so here we go. Much decoration later. Quite happy with how this came out. Decorating the prefab here, it kind of falls into certain trends. You can move stuff around, but it's always going to look like the prefab. On the other hand, it's a cool prefab, so, you know, I'm quite happy with that. So for this outer wall, as you can see, got the tree that came back there and kind of clips through a bit, which is not ideal. On the other hand, it does kind of shadow it and make the whole place look a little bit more like it's been here a while, which is a look I do like to go for. Speaking of, I'd normally line a lot of brambles around the outside to make the thing look like it's been there a while and they've had time to grow back. In this case, everything sinks into the ground quite nicely and looks alright as is, so I didn't have to do too much with that. See, the place looks reasonably secure. Turret on the corner there and the guard post, both covering the main way if the Blood Eagles do decide to come running up here, that they will approach from, so nice and easy to defend from that side. And a couple of punji boards there. I should probably have locked this gate, really, but the punji boards should at least slow down anybody trying to run in that I don't want. We'll head into our little open area here. I debated putting crops in here, but I don't need them, and I just felt it would kind of make the place look more untidy than necessary, so quite an open front area. The imposing stack there, looking pretty cool. I do quite like how those come out, the extra decoration and stuff. Decided to put a little campfire in the middle there. I tried the one that has the seat built in, but I just didn't quite like the way it looked, so a couple of benches around the individual campfire look alright. Some plushies hanging out there. Nuka-Cola Collectron is an absolute must, my favourite by far. Somehow less annoying than some of the others, and practical, so a few extra bits and pieces there just to dress it up and keep it in repair, which is always cool. My Radstag field dressing station from the current season, Season 12. It's been very, very handy, so happy to have that tucked in as well. Glad I got Symptomatic in as well. Did have to demolish the fence for the flamethrower to get it to nudge right back up against it, but it worked quite well. Here's that back gate I mentioned earlier. Head around the back. Not a lot going on out here. I could maybe have made it more interesting landing pad, I suppose, but it does the job. And a few extra bits and pieces just to point to where this gate is, and I use that extra bramble there actually to demolish a really big bramble that's usually sitting there. Having that bramble just means that the gate's a bit easier to spot, so definitely an improvement there. Tuck my generator in there. I haven't used the decon arch in a while, or I haven't put it in a build in a while. I decided I really wanted to this time, especially as the windmill just didn't look quite right in this build. So I tucked everything into that core and it works quite nicely. Having the decon arch spray water right next to the generator is maybe not the wisest thing ever, but yeah, it'll be fine. The bathroom in there as well. A bit of water, got my shelter entrance tucked down there. That had to be blueprinted as well to get it under the stairs, but it was a nice corner for it, so I was insistent. And we have the first of our Mega Mansion rooms. So I thought I'd put the vendors and the sellings place, my little shop I suppose, down here. And it fits in quite nicely. Got somewhere to hang out if you happen to have the queue. Sit on the sofa there. Read a magazine. A few examples of things that might be on sale, and a few things that won't. But there's my vendors on the countertop there with our little mannequin behind it in the Blue Ridge outfit and some extra bits and pieces on there as well. Got bowler hats, a bottle cap sunglasses and the surgical mask just to make things a bit more interesting and a bit more varied. A little bit of decoration in the back here. I actually decorated this room last, which is why the back edge there doesn't have quite so much decoration in it. Not because I ran out of budget, because I didn't. I had about a third of it left, I think. But I had reused a lot of the wall decoration in other parts of the camp, and the repetition was kind of getting to me a bit. Normally that's not too much of a problem, but with the amount of wall space in this Mega Mansion, the repetition does become a little bit of an issue. Squeezed the turret on the top there, had to push it in as far as I could there, so got a little clipping, but needed to make sure I could path up here. And we'll come up to the middle level. So this level here is basically my crafting level. See if we have a look down here, that's where the Blood Eagles hang out. Hopefully they won't give us too much hassle at the moment. And I've got my scrap box and my ammo box on the corner there, and a little armor station down here with some extra bits and pieces to break down and toolboxes and things. Decided to make use of the merge glitch on this particular build. Just had a bit of time, so kind of pushed everything together there. We've got some nice decorated lower shelves there, which looks alright. This area can be a bit annoying because stuff sometimes likes to jump up, but it wasn't too bad today, but that barrel in particular was a bit awkward to persuade it to go in there. Well, it makes for a nice open air kind of armor crafting spot. Brewing station's tucked under the stairs there, otherwise dead space, did have to have something in it. There's enough headroom under the stairs there to use them as well, so I'm happy about that. Little bits and pieces around just to fill up empty gaps. And we'll head into the crafting room, which is actually quite light touch really, because obviously I've got extra benches sprayed around outside, so plenty of room in here. There's my chemistry corner. Looking alright. Quite happy with that one. A few thematic bits and pieces there. Decided to put that poster with all the plants on it, because you need that for the chemistry bench, especially if you're making flux and stuff. So that seemed appropriate. A load of extra decoration. Piled a load of stuff onto this set of shelves in the back corner there, which is also a stash box, so quite happy with how that's come out. Not overdone it, but looks alright. The shelves are not quite equal heights on this one, which is slightly annoying. Same for some of the other shelves as well, but that top shelf is slightly taller than the other two, so careful eyeballing and trial and error required to get everything to line up. It's come out alright there. A few bits and pieces of tool thematic, crafting thematic sort of wall decoration in there as well. Decided not to put anything down on the floor in the end because it's just lift stuff up with the space we had available, and or looked like it was going to catch fire, so kind of like the bare floor for that space. It worked okay. There's our latest Fallout First object on monthly freebie. This slightly ridiculous Catherine Wheel sign, which I do like. It's good fun. Interesting combination of stuff on there. To lamp in the corner there, because this corner does actually get a little bit dark in the evening, so being able to see the stairs is not a bad thing. And we'll head onward and upwards to the top floor, wherein my living space is located. So, drop the Nuka-Cola machine on the corner there, which wasn't strictly necessary, but it was a nice thing to fill up the gap. It went in quite nicely. Little table there. I haven't really got anywhere inside to sit and eat, so I thought we'll go al fresco there. So that's the door from the Flying Fortress prefab there, but it's on the same row as the door for this particular prefab, so it's easy to swap out, which is quite nice. Did a bit more merge in there to create a little kitchen space. Quite happy with that tucked into the end there. Kind of a bed-sit flat vibe, but it worked okay. In a post-apocalyptic kind of a way, anyway. The sink's kind of got that eternal problem when you merge it into a surface. You either have it sitting up too high and then there's nothing clipping through the bottom of the sink, or you sit it nice and snug with the surface and then you've got the surface clipping through. But yeah, that's going to happen when you try and bend the rules, so quite happy with how it's come out in the end. We'll just pretend it's water. A little bedroom at the back there. Loads of details on the shelf and plenty of plushies and bits and pieces on the walls. Just to keep the place looking busy and homely. I do quite like the vibe in here. A chair there to hang out on. Thought this is fairly new, I'll make use of that, but I might start mixing it up again. It's quite a cool chair, that one. Although I did have a weird incident last week where a character became invisible when he was sat in the chair, so hell knows what happened there. There we go. Plushies and a shotgun by the bed, just in case anybody shows up unwanted in the night. Yeah, cosy. Imagine the cooking station there put out enough heat to warm the place. Ignore the fact that the chimneys will also put out a lot of smoke into the place, but we can't have everything, can we, apparently? Quite happy with this. Nice, scrappy, homely kind of post-apocalyptic build, this one. Like I say, I don't use this particular prefab a lot, because you can change the decoration around in it, and I have done, obviously, but it does tend to be very much, it's a makeshift Mega Mansion build, no matter what you do with it, so it takes over the whole build, which is fine, it's cool, and I really do like the prefab, but that is the kind of drawback you get to these big prefabs, so, yeah. I wouldn't say exactly a no-win, but you kind of have to make your choices on that one. But it is nice to use it again, because, as I say, because of that distinctive vibe to it, then it doesn't tend to get too much use, so. While we wait for some more cool stuff to arrive in the Atomic Shop in the next update, which inevitably will be the case, I thought it'd be fun to revisit this one, and I'm quite happy with it. There's lots of bits and colour and stuff going on, and I do like that vibe. And we've got a little shrine to dog meat there, because it's a Fallout game and it's a dog, and it therefore has to be dog meat, and you know, why not? I don't use that very often either. So, hope you folks did enjoy that build. If you did, please do consider dropping subs and likes. I do very, very much appreciate it. Down below, as always, social media links, merch store, channel memberships, and all those buttons and links and things down there, which I very much appreciate if you check out. Massively, massively helps out, so huge thank you to everyone who's done that already. And if you get the chance, do join us for live streams as well. We'll be picking those up again in the new coming week. We'll be playing some more Fallout, diving into the new update, and we should have a whole bunch of new stuff going on over the summer in the run-up to Starfield as well. So, do join us for those. But for now, thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to speaking to you all very, very soon.